What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay Wilder and Big George Foreman. The legend George Foreman advises against Deontay Wilder giving Tyson Fury versus AJ a pass. Big George Foreman gave Wilder some sound advice, although the Bronze Bomber has no intention of passing up his opportunity. Speculation, mainly coming from the United Kingdom, has been rife that Wilder will negate on the third battle with Fury in the wintertime. Wilder's co-manager Shelly Finkel refuted this not once but twice to WBN over the past few weeks. The first time on July 5th, Finkel told World Boxing News that I don't know where the story about Deontay Wilder pulling out of the Tyson Fury fight comes from. It's simply not true. Deontay Wilder intends to fight Tyson Fury. That is the next fight, and it will happen. Again, he said on July 28th, if I didn't consider you a friend, I wouldn't even answer this question. Wow. I wouldn't respond to the question as I have answered this before. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are fighting. That's it. So, Big George Foreman, he says that Wilder needs to stick to his guns. On top of Shelly Finkel already confirming not once, but twice. Okay, I have went over, I think, the second time he said it, because if you can tell by his wording, he was getting rather frustrated, right? And he wondered where it was coming from. Now, a lot of it is coming from the UK, okay? Where the desire to see Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury is the fight that we want to see. And the fight that a lot of people want to see. But most primary, the fight that the British fans want to see because they're two British heavyweight fighters, right? So that's where it's coming from the first time. The second place that a lot of people are not really thinking about and talking about is it's coming from the so-called Wilder supporters. And I call them so-called Wilder supporters because these guys are the same guys that don't really want that fight to happen. If you listen to a lot of the propaganda on some of those channels, not all, but some of those LDB channels, it's almost like a plot or a ploy to get Tyson Fury out of the fight with Deontay Wilder. If anything, I think you would try to validate and legitimize the guy being Tyson Fury as much as you can, because if you believe that Deontay Wilder's going to come back in the third fight and make amends of his loss, well, that'll make that victory that much sweeter. That's why I think those guys don't want that fight to happen. So to answer Shelly Finkel's question, I think it's coming from the UK. A lot of the UK is wanting that, and the desire for wanting that is really suggestions like, hey, this is what Tyson Fury should do. He should fight AJ, right? So those guys should do something and come together. That's where that's coming from. But the next is the so-called Wilder supporters, okay? Because if you're busy attacking one fighter that beat the fighter that you're a fan of, coming from drug tests and this, that, he could be banned, he should be banned, why isn't anybody reporting that he took drugs? I mean, you can't tell me you want to see a third fight saying those type of things, okay? So that's exactly what it is. But Deontay Wilder himself, by the mouth of Shelly Finkel, which is his manager, says and confirms that no one is going anywhere. The third fight is going to happen, and that is that. So George Foreman doesn't have anything to worry about. He advised him to stick to his guns, but then it's almost like, I think because of what George Foreman has heard, that Deontay Wilder might pull out of the fight, I think he should talk to Shelly Finkel. But he has nothing to worry about because Deontay Wilder's taking that fight. Now, if Deontay came out and said anything negative against Tyson Fury's forms of cheating, because that's the narrative over there, then that would probably lead me to believe that there won't be a third fight, because, okay, that's how you get out of it, because you're accusing the guy of cheating, so you don't want to fight him no more. I get that. Who would want to fight a cheater, right? But anyway, he hasn't said any of that, and Shelly Finkel has said what he said. That is that. So stay tuned for whenever the fight happens. It's going to happen. Okay, so Big George, of course, is putting his 2 cents in there, but I think he needs to focus on other things to worry about besides the fight actually happening, and worry and giving this guy key notes on how to win the 3rd fight. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about George Foreman's comments, along with Shelly Finkel's. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.